All right, we've got Madyson Gold from UNC Asheville Women's Golf. Madyson, first off, congratulations on the first ever individual tournament title in the history of this program this past weekend in Hilton Head at the Low Country Intercollegiate.
Thank you.
So, just kind of walk us through kind of what worked for you this past weekend and, how you, I guess, psychologically, for lack of a better term, battled through, you were on a roll after day one, weather hits day two, what'd you have to do mentally to keep with it going into that last day?
I think that course really just set up a little nicer for me. I mean, being from Florida, it's a really marshy, flat course. It just kind of what I grew up on. So it was fun to play. A little narrow, which also worked pretty well for me. I mean, I've hit pretty straight shots and pretty confident about my ball striking. Hardest part was missing greens. I mean, the greens were really firm and they were really tough to hit. And sticking it on a green was honestly what saved me. I think my first day was being able to get a lot on the green. The second day, or the second round, was a lot of up and downs, which was also really important because, I mean, again, sticking it on those greens was a lot tougher. I think the first day, since it was windier, it was easier to have some of them stay. And the second day, or the second round was just not as windy, so it was harder. But I think just being able to stay mentally tough and stay out there for as long as possible, keep my head in it for all 18 was important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then kind of the last thing before we talk with Coach Cash, that's the first individual title in program history, the first win of your career, but at the same time, what's the key to keeping mentally right moving forward?
I think especially going into conference, because the conference course is going to play pretty tough like that one as well. I think it's just being able to stay in it and know that some things aren't going to go your way sometimes, but being able to come back, get what you can, birdie when you can, up and down pars are perfectly fine, and just being able to stay in it as long as possible.
Well, congratulations again, Matt.
Thank you.
All right, now featuring head coach Ross Cash after Madyson Gold's individual title win at the Low Country Intercollegiate. Coach, obviously, you saw the golf all weekend. What was the key from your perspective, kind of sticking with Maddie and making sure that everything was going as it should have?
Well, I think the one word is probably resilience. It's one thing that we talked about in team meetings, especially because the golf course was so difficult and the conditions, watching the weather forecast, we knew were going to be really difficult, and we were sort of in the second wave of play, so we weren't even going to get through like 6 or 7 holes of no wind. We were playing all day long in 16 to 20 mile an hour sustained winds and gusts to 28. Anybody who's a golfer knows how tough that is. But Maddie and the team itself showed a lot of resilience. I think that's was the real key.
Absolutely. So, what does this mean for you as head coach to kind of bounce back from the performance at the Rivertown to, come into a second place finish by one shot, have an individual tournament champion just a couple of short weeks later?
Well, it's cool for me to see because I actually know how good the girls are. Our team is very good, and I think they're starting to understand how good they are. Madyson in particular, is really such a strong player that this will not be the one and only win that she has here. There will be others. Could be this week at the Golf Week tournament as well. So she's just a strong player. She can play with what I call the lights on, during tournaments where you're keeping score and there's people watching and whatnot. So that makes her a special player. Her golf and practice and her golf and tournament play look exactly the same.
Absolutely. And so you mentioned a little bit about the Golf Week upcoming. What's the key to kind of continuing that momentum?
I think building on this past tournament, continuing with that theme of resilience, because golf is a game where not everything goes your way. The field in this tournament is really, really strong. I think there's 19 teams again in this one, but really a lot of great teams. And taking that confidence, knowing that we belong, and each one of them going out and sort of performing their best that they can for the amount of time that we can. We call it sort of 5 hours of sustained mental effort each day. So being able to go in, this is a 3-round event, and put in 15 hours, 5 hours each day of sustained effort and resilience, and I think that'll solve itself.
Sounds good, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.